जय गजानना
लंबोदरा जय गजानना
लंबोदरा जय गजानना
लंबोदरा जय गजानना
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन
लंबोदरा जय गजानना विमोचन भव भय भंजन
विमोचन भव भय
बंध विमोचन भव भय भंजन
विमोचन भव भय भंजन
प्रणव स्वरूपा हे शिवानंदन प्रणव स्वरूपा हे शिवानंदन पाहि प्रभो मां पाहि गजानन
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 लंबोदरा जय गजानना
लंबोदरा जय गजानना
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन
लंबोदरा जय गजानना
लंबोदरा जय गजानना
बंध विमोचन भव भय भंजन
बंध विमोचन भव भय भंजन
प्रणव स्वरूपा हे शिवानंदन
प्रणव स्वरूपा हे शिवानंदन
पाहि प्रभो मां पाहि गजानन
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 लंबोदरा जय गजानना
Beautiful smile.
11 o'clock.
For some, it was a gentle reprimand.
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble and loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, Om Shri Sai Ram. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the 8th Samarpan Session organized by the alumni of Sri Sathya Sai institutions here in Toronto. Samarpan sessions are being organized for a few years across various cities in India and across the globe as an opportunity for both the devotees listening in as well as for the speaker to relive and share the precious and golden moments of one's life spent with our dear Lord in His physical presence. This, in fact, allows us to reconnect with Swami and soak ourselves in the experiences of devotees and ultimately in His divine presence. Samarpan sessions in Toronto has been happening online for the last 5 sessions. It has been happening online for the last 5 sessions, and Swami has blessed us immensely with wonderful speakers sharing their experiences and transporting us to the days of Swami's physical presence. And that had immensely helped us all connect with the Lord. For this edition of Samarpan, which is going to be our 8th edition, on behalf of the alumni of Sri Sathya Sai institutions in Toronto, we are blessed to have Brother Amitabh Das Gupta as our guest speaker. Here is a short intro of the speaker. Brother Amitabh hails from Kolkata, the capital of West Bengal state in India, and was blessed to join Sri Sathya Sai Primary School in Prasanthi Nilayam in the year 1982 for grade 1. And he completed his schooling from Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School in the year 1993. He then went on to pursue his Bachelor of Sciences in Mathematics from Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Brindavan Campus, and then completed his MBA from the Prasanthi Nilayam Campus during 1997 to 1999 period. He is also an avid sports enthusiast, having received multiple medals and all-round championship trophies directly from Swami during his student days. Brother Amitabh was then specially chosen by Bhagawan to serve in the ashram for Sri Sathya Sai Bhakta Sahayak son, which is now part of Sri Sathya Sai Sadhana Trust during 1999 to 2005. He was instrumental in enhancing the operational efficiencies of Ashram's Canteen, shopping center, and Gokulam, among others. Since 2006, he has worked in various capacities across the world in multinational corporations and currently resides in Melbourne, Australia, and serves as a director for KPMG Australia. During his 23 years long journey in Bhagawan's physical presence, Swami has blessed him with numerous interactions, directions, and indelible experiences. He was also blessed to accompany Bhagawan to Kodaikanal in the year 1994 and holds a treasure chest of sweet memories and lessons for life. He is also blessed with numerous personal experiences which he will be sharing with us during this session. The stage is all yours, brother. Jai Sai Ram.
Saram, my utmost gratitude and love at Bhagwan's lotus feet, respected elders, and my dear brothers and sisters who are watching this telecast now and also in future. My loving sarams to all of you. I would like to thank Bhagwan, first of all, for helping me and giving me his grace in having these experiences with him all these years. And of course, thank my parents and family who have supported me to be with Swami right from age of 5 till I did my MBA and also studied and also worked there henceforth. And also thank you for the Toronto chapter of Samarpan for giving me this opportunity to share some of my experiences in this free flowing session of Samarpan. And I pray that Swami, this is your talk and you speak through me and you enjoy through every one of the listeners. Okay. Let me start off recollecting one day Swami had called 4 or 5 of us. We were seated in the veranda, and he asked us to get inside the interview room. And so we followed Swami, and Swami took us inside, and he said, "There is some prasadam. There were some fruits that needed to be distributed." And he took us through his kitchen into his kitchen, and from there he asked us to go and serve. There were some baskets or vessels, and he asked us to go and give it to the devotees and the students outside. So we did that, and we came back. And those days we used to come back inside the interview room and put those vessels back into the kitchen. And those 4 of us were now waiting for Swami inside. So there is um, if this is Swami's interview room and if this is Swami's kitchen, there is a passage, and we were waiting inside the passage. Okay, and there's a curtain between the interview room um, and the passage. And we had finished the distribution, and Swami was speaking to a few devotees outside, and there was pin drop silence. And here we were waiting for Bhagawan inside the mandir. And suddenly we hear some footsteps coming in, and the interview room door closes, and there is a click sound. And we could hear our heartbeats, and there was now noise. I won't say noise. There was the volume increased outside, and we could see devotees. We could hear devotees getting up, and but inside the interview room there was just pin drop silence, and we could feel Swami's aroma, and we could feel Swami's presence. But there was a curtain between the interview room and the kitchen, and we were in the passage waiting for him. And we heard his footsteps, very silent footsteps going, and he was holding some letters, and he put those letters in the in a letter basket beside his chair, and he was doing something. And but we were here. And after a few minutes, um, Swami came, and he opened the curtain, and he looked at us, and he was sort of, his eyes sort of sparkled looking at us as if he was shocked and astonished. And immediately he said, "Chor, chor," means thieves, dacoits. He said, "Dacoits, thieves, what are you doing inside my house?" And we sort of started almost giggling. We were teenagers, and we were laughing. And Swami said, "What have you come to steal from my house? Okay, you are thieves and dacoits." And then what he said? He said, "You are all worldly thieves and worldly chores. but I am Chittachora. I am the stealer of your hearts, and I steal hearts, whereas you steal just the world. And as students, then I still vividly recollect this beautiful face of Bhagawan, this charming, loving face, that he is the stealer of our hearts. And to this stealer of our hearts, I offer this Samarpan program today. And how he stole at least my little heart when I was 4 years old, when I first came to him, and when I actually saw him for the first time. And I remember it was in the 1980, and there were sands all around, and Swami used to have the betel nut or pan, and his lips used to be red, and he used to walk across the sands, and we used to grab those sands after the darshan. And I remember my first few memories were he signed, I won't say signed, he wrote an Om for in a slate, which I had given him. So that was my one of my first interactions with him. And then we were like children, hooked, and we wanted to get something of him, get near him. There was one incident which comes into my mind now. Was we were in um, my parents, my father, mother, and my brother, my elder brother. The college was had just been built. It was 1980s, and so and there was some cleaning work, and they needed some save others. And my parents had gone there, and even I followed them. And they were sweeping, and as children we were also doing something, some picking up stones and putting it in baskets, clearing the road. And suddenly there was a hush, and Swami's car comes in. And I realized that everyone left everything and rushed towards Swami's car. And uh, and I had a broom in my hand, and uh, I didn't know what to do. And I took that broom and I ran towards Swami's car. And as soon as Swami's car came near me, I just took a broom and I raised my hand. Can you imagine a 4 year old and just shouting, Jai Sai Ram? And immediately Swami's car stopped, and he pulled down his window pane, and he gave a very nice blessing and a beautiful, charming smile. And I had no idea what I had done. I was a child, but I recollect this thing that yes, Swami blessed me from the car. And then, and I became, after the thing, and Swami went by, I became a talking point. There was a restaurant we used to go, it's called Sai Krupa. I went there and everyone started hushing. Hey, there's this little boy who stopped Swami's car today. He shouted, and then my parents said, yeah, it is this boy, and I had no idea what I had done. So that was the charm of Swami for anyone and everyone. He was that he just stole your heart. He was that Chittachora. And I was so hooked, and I wanted to join primary school. I imagine the attraction of Swami, that a little child is happy to leave his parents when he's 5 years old and come and study in Swami's hostel. So there must be something special about Swami and this connection with you on a one-on-one basis. And so I was so excited, and I wanted to join Swami's school. And I gave the entrance in 1982, and then I joined, and I was so happy, joining there. I remember one incident which is very close to me. It was, I think I was in grade 4 or 5, and one of the opportunities students have is, because there are hundreds of students. So your birthday is an opportunity where you get a one-on-one with Swami, and you can go and you can give him some chocolates, some and some yellow grain so that he can shower it on you. And you also have an opportunity to get a Swami's photograph autographed by him. And I was really excited that yes, I'm getting a chance to really be there in front of Swami. And I asked my mother then, can you get me a camera photograph of Swami? And because my other classmates had very nice big camera size photograph of Swami, which Swami could actually sign. And I also wanted something like that. And um, my mother went outside the mandir. There was a shop, and in the evening she came and she gave me a small envelope, and she said, "I've got two photographs for you there." And I opened the envelope and I was shocked. My mother had bought two, passport size photographs of Swami, and she said, "You can ask Swami to sign one of them." And I was really furious, and I said, "Mother, how can I take this to Swami? This is such a small thing. Everyone has a postcard size or a cabinet size, which is quite a big photograph. And I actually need those type of photographs because I cannot take a small photograph because no one has ever got such a small photograph signed by Swami ever." And my mom said, "Oh, this is all that we can afford because I think it was 1 rupee or so each, that small camera size photographs. And with 1 rupee those days, you could get almost two canteen meals for around two people." And she said, "No, for Swami, size doesn't matter." And we were like, and I was like, "Mom, but for me size matters, right? It's all my friends, and I'm sure for Swami also size matters, and Swami will not like such a small photograph." And we went into this argument. Finally, we couldn't do anything. The shops were closed, and next evening I had to go, and I um, unwillingly took that photograph and put it in my pocket because it could fit in my pocket, right? And we went for evening darshan. Only there were 3 or 4 primary school boys, and rest all were behind us were higher secondary school boys and the college boys. The overall primary school boys and girls used to come only for Thursday morning and evening darshans. Thursday only morning darshans. So evening we should not come. Only we were there, and I was praying from the bottom of my heart, Swami, please don't autograph any photographs today for anyone, because if you don't autograph, then I don't have to be embarrassed to really show photograph to you, and all my friends will laugh at me that Swami didn't sign my photographs because it is so small. And I was uh, I was in that particular dilemma, and I was praying literally from the bottom of my heart, Swami, please don't do this. Don't sign photographs today. And Swami finished his darshan round and he came, and my heart was really beating. Swami came and Swami blessed Akshata, that is your yellow grains, threw some chocolates around, and then um, my prayers became louder and louder in my heart. Swami, please don't ask for photographs. And then Swami came and asked, okay, give me a photograph. And Swami started signing so many photographs. So there are 4 of us. He signed the photographs of 3 boys. And then I didn't have the guts to really show my small photograph to Swami. And meanwhile, there were other students from behind who came and showed their photographs. And they were postcard size photographs, cabinet size photographs, and they were A4 size photographs. And Swami kept on signing that day. And then from behind, someone got a big life size photograph of Swami as well, a student. And then Swami said, okay, give me a big pen. And that boy gave a big, massive pen, because you need to sign, you need a bigger pen for that particular photograph. And Swami then signed that life-size photograph. And then all the photographs he had signed for that evening, and he said, "Any more photographs left?" And very sheepishly, I looked at Swami, because I was just right under his nose, and I took that, my small passport size photograph, and I took that and I showed it to I showed it to Swami. And then the Swami looked at it, and Swami said, "Itna chota photograph and itna bada pen, how can I sign?" And exactly that was what I was thinking before, right? How can Swami sign small photographs? And everyone laughed. And I felt that they were sort of laughing at me, that I can afford only such a small photograph. And then Swami took that photograph from me. He sort of looked at it, he spent some time on it, and then he asked for a small pen, okay, a pilot size with a thin nib. And one of the students or teachers took out a pen from their pocket and gave it to Swami. And Swami took that pen and very slowly, very delicately, he autographed that small passport size photograph. And I was so thrilled and so happy. And then Swami looked at that photograph and said, "Very nice photograph." And immediately Swami signed, gave the pen back, and he gave the photograph back to me. I was in the seventh heaven. I was so happy that he looked after even a uh, uh, 8 to 10 year old boy who had everything in his world. Everything was at stake, because he didn't have a big photograph. And as my mother said, for Swami, that size did not matter. And all the pain in my heart that he won't sign my photograph, and the embarrassment just went away. And everyone after bhajan rushed to see, "Oh, where's that small photograph which Swami signed?" Because Swami had never signed such a photograph, and no one had seen Swami sign such a small photograph. And that day was such a special day, and I became the talking point of the town, because Swami signed such a small photograph. And he had never actually done, or people have not seen him done that, doing that before. And he spent so much time on the photograph as well. So that was one small memory that I cherish even till date. And whenever I hear this, it gives me that, yes, he is the Chittachora. He steals your heart, and he connects with you one on one. You just need to call out to him, and he will respond. It doesn't matter whether you are a little child or an adult or royalty or prime minister or a president. It is just, you just need to look inside your heart and call out to him. So as my time went on in Swami's school, I was just like one among the hundreds and hundreds of students and boys. And there were so many incidents, but which was just casual incidents, and Swami doing this, Swami doing that. But by the time I came to uh, grade 12, um, I had spent almost now 12 years in Swami's institutions as a student. And my plan was, me and a friend of mine were thinking, okay, we should go and do uh, engineering in one of the premier engineering colleges in India called the IIT. So we thought we would prepare for that. And some of us were actually preparing for it. So because engineering was not available in Swami's university, so we was preparing for it, and we thought, okay, the winter vacations had come. Okay, and winter vacation is a break for around 2 or 3 weeks after the Dashera festival, and we thought we will utilize our time maximum here, because next year we're not going to be student; we would be studying engineering. So. Um we consciously decided that we will stay back, because A very few boys stay back, and then you get more chances from Swami, and Swami talks to you. Swami could talk to you. There's no guarantee, but at least he will know you among thousands of students. Now there'll be a very handful who have stayed back just for him. And so that was our plan. And all the boys had gone, and Swami um, came one day near me, and that brother was seated currently where Swami Samadhi is, and then Swami started speaking to him. Okay, and suddenly this brother of mine, Swami, started showering so much of his love, so much of his grace. And I remember once we were in the interview room, a few days later or a few months later, the late V.K. Narasimhan sir, who was one of the editors, first editors of Sanatan Sarati, said, Swami, I want to wash the feet of that particular student and be his servant, because you are giving him so much of your time and attention. Okay, and since he was a close friend of mine, I could feel that, I could experience that as well. Even though Swami didn't really talk to me. And so that day, during that vacation, Swami had the Dashera festivals had just completed, and Swami had called some of the school boys who had stayed back to go into Purnachandra. In the Purnachandra, the Yagnam was conducted, and and the norm then was, when the last day of the Purnahuti, Swami would throw akshatas into the Yagnam, and he would materialize 9 gems while throwing, and those 9 gems would have fallen into the sacrificial pit. And our job was to go and find those 9 gems, right? And then clean up the whole thing and convert it into vibhuti packets. And Swami had called the school boys to come and help in that during the winter vacation. And imagine Swami is putting you in this full illusion when he can create something out of nothing, and now he's asking someone else, okay, I have put it in the sacrificial pit, now boys go and find that, right? So but it was a great chance for us, and we used to go there, and he used to very few of us, and after doing that he used to feed us, talk to us, give us something or other. But he was giving so much attention to this particular boy who was my mate, and he was, and also a few other students, and I could experience it, right? And then I had an urging, right? Swami, I stayed here for 12 years, right? And next year I'm going off, and there is now a deadline. I want to utilize every moment of my time with you. And I look back, and Swami, you don't even know my name, right? You've given me, yes, you have interacted with me, but you don't recognize me. Okay, this boy is Amitabh Das Gupta. And there are hundreds of students, so it is almost impossible physically for someone to really know everyone's names. And I kept thinking, Swami, you never even asked me till date what is my name, right? And I've been there 12 years, and I was feeling a bit bad. There was this hunger and yearning for Swami. Swami, um, I need that attention, because I'm finishing up and going off for engineering. So I need something. Okay, please talk to me. Please recognize me. Do something. Okay, and and the environment in the hostel was so nice, and also with our teachers telling us all the time stories about Swami, stories about experiences about his devotees and his students, and this happening live in front of me. I'm observing this. It just brought in an environment of devotion and hunger for Swami, right? Similar to, if I can relate it to like what we had read in books with Ramakrishna and his disciples, and Vivekanandas, and all the other disciples, Rakhal. So that was the environment, and we were admiring and trying to talk to Swami, and we could see Swami's love for a few boys, and And I was pining and I was hungry for that, but I was not really getting it, and I was just being ignored. And one day, the vacation had got completed, and more boys started coming in, and that's when the Purnachandra sessions actually started. This was sometime in 1993, and I was thinking, okay, I'm actually running out of time, and I was praying, and I struggled, and finally I got uh, a number 1.1 when I can just sit under Swami's nose in Purnachandra on a Sunday. And I was so excited, and I'm going there. And I was the first boy. I was actually seated, and there was a gap between Swami's chair, and I was the first boy seated, and I was so excited that maybe Swami will look at me, Swami will tell something to me. Okay, and I also stayed back for winter vacation, and a few minutes before Swami coming out into and sitting on the chair inside the Purnachandra, suddenly there were 10 boys who came and sat in front of me at that chair, right? So now I have now got the sixth or seventh row instead of being the first row. And I was like furious, like I struggled. I needed to go for lunch and I got this 1.1. And how come these students are now coming and taking over? And then I was told, okay, these boys are called form boys. And form boys meant that, okay, Swami was talking to them and they have to sit in front and Swami is giving them attention. And so they will get first privileges. And I was deeply pained, and I was thinking, how can you have this partiality, Swami? Like, we are also your children, we are also your students. We struggle to get 1.1 after so many days, and now I'm waiting, and suddenly these boys come in, right? And I was getting that feeling that this is unfair, and but I had to just accept it, right? That was the norm. And um, uh, and suddenly Swami comes. And usually the Purnachandra sessions, how it would be run is Swami would come, Swami would talk, and boys, it is very informal. It is similar to the Thrice sessions, but very informal. Boys and staff, and Swami, some boys will speak, Swami will speak, they'll be singing, and after that, Swami will get some prasadam, he'll get some food and give it to boys, and boys will eat. And everyone will be fed well, and then we go and have evening darshan. And so that was the trend those days. It was called Purnachandra sessions, and here I was um, there, and this 8 rows of boys now sitting in front of me, and I'm somewhere in the ninth row, and I was supposed to be 1.1. And suddenly that day, Swami came and Swami sat, and everyone rushed forward. And this 8 rows of boys were there in front of me. And suddenly, Swami called the warden and said, what is there for prasadam? And then the warden went, and then Swami got up, and then Swami started picking boys. Okay, all those people, boys, 8 or 9 boys who were sitting front of me. Swami said, you go. And then Swami picked 3 or 4 behind me, beside me, and he just ignored me. And I was just the boy, and everyone around me, Swami called. And then Swami took them, and it was very embarrassing because I was the guy in the middle. And so I was just seated there, and everyone around me were called, and they all went, and Swami actually took them, and Swami got some nice prasadam, and they went and started distributing those prasadams to all the boys. And I was thinking, like, this is the worst thing can ever happen to you, right? I was supposed to get 1.1 right under his nose, and Swami denied me that. Now he's picking everyone. And before that, all those boys who were seated in front, Swami started asking them, and because it was sort of near Diwali time as well, he started giving them crackers, and he asked them what are their plans. And he talked to everyone except me, and my heart was like almost broken, and I was crying, like, why am I being ignored? And it was a feeling like, like the river and the sea feeling. The river is trying to get into the sea, and the sea is just pushing it back. And again, the river is trying. Again, the sea is pushing it back, and I'm just being totally ignored. And I was in that highest mode of pining, which after that I never ever had. and I didn't know what to do. And then Swami, um, as they were distributing, suddenly Swami comes and sits on the chair, and Swami tells, "Boys, come front." So I, who are now in the eighth row, I'm just 1.1, just under Swami's feet, right? And I get the first position, and it never happened. Usually the prasadam distribution is after everything gets over. And this was the first time, and I think the last time when prasadam distribution happened on as in the beginning instead of in the end. And all those boys who were distributing, they were still distributing, and Swami had called all of us front, and I was just under his nose, and I could press his feet. And then all those boys, they finished distributing, and they came and sat behind us. But nothing happened. It was I was still ignored, but I felt that yeah, Swami listened to my prayers, even though I couldn't. He didn't talk to me. He ignored me. He didn't pick me up. But at least I got that 1.1, which I prayed and cried and yearned for, and I could be on his just under his feet, and be just under his nose, right? So that was a beautiful experience where I felt that yes, he is in your heart. He's listening to you. He's waiting for that yearning, and he's waiting for you to cry out. And I'll tell you what Swami told many months later about these incidents. And then after that, um, this thing got over. I was still hungry, and I thought, okay, I'm going to celebrate my. I was in grade 12 then. I'm going to celebrate my birthday. Okay, this is an opportunity again, and I wanted to grab every chance of it. So I what I did was I said I'm going to give Swami only cloves, right? And Swami loved eating cloves. And later on, we used to say Swami loved cloves because it's spelled Clove, and there's C love, and Swami is embodiment of love, and that's why he loves cloves. And so what I did was and as students, and the environment in Swami's institution was such, with teachers telling us so many stories about Bhagawan, and we used to watch Ramayana with Swami so many times. And Swami used to tell us stories about Ramayana in his discourses, in class interviews, and one of the things he used to talk about is about Shabari, and how Shabari had darshan of Rama only once, in waiting and yearning for Rama. And when Rama came, she had collected some wild fruits, and before giving it to Rama, she tasted every fruit she tasted, and then she gave it to Rama. And it was the most unhygienic thing you could see. You are even the Lord of the Lords is coming. You need to be spick and span, most hygienic. But here was an illiterate old lady waiting and pining for Lord Rama, and then Lord Rama is given a fruit which is not clean. It has your saliva in it. But that was a love of Shabari. And when Lakshmana tried to intervene, Rama said no. And this is the sweetest fruit I have ever eaten. And Rama eats all those fruits which has Shabari saliva, because she tasted every one of them, which were, are they good or not? If they're good, she would keep it. If they are bitter, she would throw it away. And she used to take that, and then Rama ate it, and then Rama gave it to Sita and Lakshmana. That was the stories we were brought up with by our teachers, by Swami. And this was what was playing in my mind. And I'm saying, and we were so engulfed, and there was so much of yearning. I'm finishing up my 12th. I need to get one more chance with Swami. And I took 2 packets of cloves, and every clove I put it in my mouth, based on the stories what I heard. I tasted it, and I felt, will this please Swami? Is this good for Swami? Taste it and put it in a container. And I never told anyone. Okay, anyone, no one. I was hiding it. I was not showing it to anyone, and I did for almost 100 pieces of cloves, and it took a few hours, but it was just visualizing Swami and doing that with so much of yearning, and it was pure yearning and hunger, because I have a deadline and I'm finishing up. So Swami, I need to utilize every moment. And I go to the mandir that evening, and then Swami, and I find that there are 6, 7 birthday boys that day, and which is like, okay, I don't know whether he'll bless me or not. And then Swami comes and he blesses everyone. He throws chocolates, he touches the dry fruits, blesses everyone, but he doesn't touch the cloves of anyone. And he comes to me towards the end and he looks at the cloves, he picks up the cloves and he throws it to everyone. Okay, imagine. And he saw me never throws, very rarely he throws cloves. That evening he threw cloves to everyone, then took one clove in front of me, put it in my mouth, and he took one clove in his hand and put it behind and kept walking. He never looked at me. There was no smile, there was nothing. But I was jubilant and I was so happy and I was dancing in my heart that Swami sort of recognized all that I did hiding from the world and yearning for him. Okay, it was such a moment, very very dear moment to me. But there was nothing exchanged between me and Swami saying, see, you did all that, that's why I'm blessing you. No, he didn't even look at me, he just looked at the clothes and he did that. But I was sort of jumping with joy, right? But the ocean was and the sea was still not relenting to let the river actually come in, because he still ignored me. But and then there was another chance which happened was when I was every 12th class boy had a chance to give arati and coconut to Swami. So it was my chance that day. And I was supposed to give coconut, and a classmate of mine was to give arati. So I took that coconut, and by then I was like 24/7. I'm thinking about Swami and Swami's, and it's engulfed by more because Swami is giving my classmates a lot of chances, right? I also want to be part of that, right? And it's happening with everyone around me except me. So the hunger is much more appreciated there. And I'm just waiting, and I get this chance. And usually it is Swami comes down from the bhajanal, from his throne, and before he goes inside the interview for his dinner, we do the arati. And we went, we took namaskar. I took the coconut and uh, I waved it around him, and my friend gave an arati, and then Swami goes inside, and usually he comes with a basket and gives vibhutis. That day he came with a basket. There are two of us. Okay, that day was the most charming motherly look I ever got from Swami, and he looked at me with so much compassion, right? And I think I could feel that he understood the hunger and the yearning and the pain I had, that I wanted his attention, right? And I was no singer, and I was no one super talented that he could really observe, right? And here I was pining for it, and he gave me such a beautiful look. He gave me four vibhuti packets, 4 or 5 vibhuti packet, put it in my hand, gave some few vibhuti packets to my classmate, and before going, he took some more vibhuti packets in the basket and gave me extra, some 10 vibhuti packets extra. And he gave this loving, compassionate look, and I was floored. And I was like massively floored, and I was jumping in joy. And this time he looked at me, he acknowledged me, he saw me. There was this compassion in his look, and I sort of took it, and I was so happy. And it was for me now, the sea is now a little bit relenting, but he didn't talk to me. But the that look itself, the presence and the smile, everything was now come in, and I felt that okay, the sea is slowly relenting for the river to actually merge into him and get into him, and I was so happy. And then was the 12th standard interview, right? So that was supposed to be a great moment. So usually outgoing batches, Swami would give class interviews for them, but it's not guaranteed for Swami, right? You have to pray for it, right? Some batches the previous years got, some batches didn't get. Okay, so it was not handed to you on a silver platter, right? We had to do our sadhana as a group. We had to do bhajans, going back in the hostel, pray for it, write letters to him, uh, almost beg him every darshan, please talk to us as 12 standard. So all that drama used to be there for getting anything from Swami. And that was one chance I thought, okay, that would be my last chance of interactions with Swami. And this has been going on for a few days. Swami is saying, no, we are asking, please. And one evening, we were there, and Swami didn't call anyone for interview, right? And we thought, okay, this is our chance. So Swami may call all of us. And a few boys whom Swami were talking to, they went and told Swami, please call us. And he was shouting, Swami, please call us. And Swami said, how many of you are there? And the boys said, Swami, we are 64 boys. And Swami said, 64 boys? How will 64 boys fit into this interview room? Not possible. And then we said, Swami, for you, you can expand the interview room. You're God. And Swami said, are you sure? Do you have that faith? And all of us, 64 boys with full voice, yes, Swami, we have faith that you can expand the room. Are you sure you can? You know that that I can expand the room? Yes, Swami, you can do anything. And then Swami finally gave way, and he said, "Okay, all of you go in." And 64 of us got inside that small, tiny room. For those who have not seen it, barely 10, 12 people can fit. We snugged ourselves and sat on each other, and I'm sure the room expanded because 64 of us could sit there very comfortably. And then Swami came in, and if I recollect, it was Swami actually sat down, and then Swami started asking who all are going for engineering, who all are going for medical. Especially, some boys raised their hands, and then Swami said, "In my opinion, you should not go for medical immediately after 12th because your mind is not developed. You do B.Sc and then go for you go for engineering or go for medical. That is my opinion. But whatever you want, boys, you can do." And then Swami was asking boys if you have any questions. And here, and Swami started talking about silence and the importance of silence. And I thought, okay, I need to interact something. I need to get Swami's attention. And I asked Swami, I have a question. And Swami said, what? And I said, Swami, yes, you talk about silence, but and I used to play a lot, and I was one of the school captains. And I said, Swami, when you're captaining your team, do we need to keep silence even while playing? And Swami said, yes, you have to keep silence even while playing. Be silent, focus on the game. And I said, Swami, but as a captain, I used to be the cricket captain. You have to encourage your players. You have to talk to them, talk about strategy, do this. Swami said, no, you do that all off the field. On the field, just execute it. And then Swami said, okay, any more questions? And again, I raised my hands. And I was so much in love and so much of hunger and intensity for getting Swami's attention. I said, Swami, I have one more question. And Swami said, what, Bangaru? And then I asked Swami this question, which at that point in time, I had no idea what it meant to me from an answer point of view, because my thing was, okay, I had this question in my mind, but I'm asking this question just to get an attention with Swami and nothing else. And Swami said, what's the question? And then I asked Swami, what is the difference between ego and self-confidence and self-respect? And Swami, in his very casual way, said, ego is external I, and self-confidence is internal I. And that's it. And Swami started explaining, and and he started speaking to me. And at that point in time, it didn't matter what Swami told, right? All I needed was Swami spoke to me. But now, if I look back, that is one of the biggest lessons for me, what I have heard directly from Swami's mouth, directing me in a group interview was which has helped me all my career now is self-confidence. Swami said is internal eye. When you know that Swami in you is there and you can do everything, there is nothing impossible for you. Whereas ego is external eye. When you think you are this body, when you think you are the best and you're better than others, or you're not good enough, that's the external eye, where you identify yourself with the body. That really hit home so many years later. It was such a powerful message he gave us as youngsters. Okay, so coming back to what happened was um, suddenly then Swami sort of, he spent almost 1.5 hours with him. And then Swami looked at me, and for the first time in 12 years of my stay as a student, he looked at me and asked, "What is your name, boy?" And I told Swami, "My name is Amitabh Das Gupta." And all Swami caught was Gupta. Okay, and he said, "Gupta, okay." And then some boys had made some pakoras for Swami, and Swami took those pakoras. He gave two in my hands, and he said, "Go and you eat. This is for you, and give the remaining to other boys." So I went and gave the pakoras to other boys, and then after that, Swami started. Swami went inside and I think and got some biscuit packets. You know the love which he had, and this whole interview was like a Bollywood movie, right? You had drama. Swami actually created a big, massive diamond, and he showed it to us. And he took someone's ring, blew it, made it a white diamond, made it a green diamond. And it had awe. It had this magical movements. It had the yearning. It had food. It had everything in it. For 1.5 hours, it went. And after that, so we went inside, got us some biscuits, and he looked, and he was having two biscuits in his hand, and he wanted to give it, and there were 64 hands which went and said, "Swami, please give." Everyone's hand was open, and some boys even raised two hands, right? And Swami was looking to give, and then finally he said he was looking. He said, "Where is Gupta's hands? Where is Gupta's hands?" Okay, first time after 12 years I realized that okay, Swami finally recognized me. He sort of knew my name in that moment, and he took those two biscuits, found my hand, and gave it to me. Right, and I was so happy. And then the interview got over, and we went out, and the bhajan started. And Swami said, "You boys go now. I'll talk to you later." And then after that, we all went, and we just sat outside the interview room, okay, where dude near the ladies' side. And Swami, because Swami those days used to call boys in, and we actually sat there. And now boys started pushing me, Amitabh, now you go front, you sit front. And I was now sort of, that form boy cliche came in, and they said, "You go and sit front." I sat front. And then um, Swami came out from, he finished the arati, went in, had his dinner, and he came out. And while going, he looked at me and he gave me a nice pat here. Okay, he did a pat. And oh my God, what super bliss was that? I don't know what happened, but I was in the seventh heaven. It was just a tight tap. And for next 24 hours, I couldn't think of anything else. And there was so much of joy, and there was array of infinite bliss, which really happened. And next day, we went into mandir, and we were group captains. And we took an opportunity. We said, "Swami, speak to us." And then Swami called us, and that's when it started. From then on, um almost every other day we had an interview with Swami, or we used to sit around him. And we spent so much time with him, and that he sort of he 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 recognized my name. He knew about me. And one day, while we were seated around him, suddenly he said, "Why I'm talking to you? Because the fruit has ripened, right? You were raw from grade 1 to grade 12. Now it has ripened, and now I could feel that yes, the sea has given way, and the river could meet the sea and get lost in the bliss of Swami. And we had wonderful moments there. And one of the things I remember, he used to one day, we were again seated around him. And Swami, we asked Swami, um, what do you want from us? What can we give you? And then Swami said, "Boys, all I want is love. And that love is, I put it in your heart when you were born, and that is my property. That love in your heart is my property, right? Your job is to give that back to me because it is my property. All I want is your love. And Swami gave an example. Swami said, there is this big industrialist who had come and he offered me millions and millions of dollars, but I said no. I said, I'm not a beggar, I'm bigger. Because he didn't have that love, I didn't take it from him, right? And while he was talking there, he there was few letters um, beside his chair, and he was just three or four of us, and he took that letter, and it was a small, it had no envelope, nothing. It was just a small chit, and in that paper, there was there were two cloves which were wrapped around a sticky tape, right? A transparent sticky tape. And Swami said, "What is that?" And Swami opened it, and Swami read the letter, and Swami was so happy. Swami was so full of bliss. And Swami said, this, and it was a 10th class boy who had put those two cloves for Swami. And imagine you put it around the sticky tape, how unhygienic it becomes. And that's where Swami said, see how much these boys love me, how much devotees love me. Do you have that much bhakti? Right? And he took those cloves, he did not give it to any of us, and he ate both those cloves that day in front of us. He said, ah, this is bliss, right? And uh, that was all he actually wanted. Another thing I have found, um, the thing which easily pleases Swami was following his teachings. So one day, I for the first time I came one on one with Swami in the interview room. Okay, well, just one on one, only me and Swami. And suddenly he said, "Are you following my teachings?" And he called me Rowdy. Hey, Rowdy, are you following my teachings? What I'm telling you, are you following? And then I said, Swami, I'm trying. I'll try. And Swami suddenly his face became very angry, and he said, "Try, try, try. You'll go dry. No try. It is you have to do. You have to do." And I was thinking, okay, I have to do it. And and next few days, whatever he was whatever he told us, I try to follow as much as possible, almost for a week. And then one day we were with him in the evenings. We are usually around him in the interview room, and we were around him in the interview room. And I actually I had a letter. I had a little letter in which I had penned a song of a classic Kishore Kumar Bollywood song, and it goes something like this. It said, "जो तुमको हो वो पसंद वही बात करेंगे." Okay, तुम दिन को अगर रात कहो तो रात कहेंगे. It meant, I will only say what you like to hear. If you call day as night, and then I'll call it night. So it goes something like this. I'm not a great singer, but I just want to sing this from my heart. It says, "जो तुमको वो पसंद वही बात कहेंगे, तुम दिल को अगर रात कहो रात कहेंगे, जो तुमको वो पसंद वही बात कहेंगे, देते ना आप साथ तो मर जाते हम कभी के, पूरे हुए हैं आपसे अरमां जिंदगी से." So it means, had you not been with me, then I could have died. All the desires of my life are fulfilled due to my life. And it says, "हम जिंदगी को आपकी सौगात कहेंगे." Says, I call my life as your gift. तुम दिल को अगर रात कहो, रात कहेंगे, जो तुमको वो पसंद वही बात कहेंगे. So I had penned these lines down, and I had um, put it in a letter, and then I wrote underneath, Swami, I am now following your teachings. Now it's been 1 week. I've been following your teachings, and 95% I have been able to follow. So please give me your grace and blessings so that I can follow the remaining 5%. And then Swami looked at the letter and said, "What? You're following only 95%? What about the remaining 5%? Why are you following only 95%?" And then he looked at me sternly, and then suddenly that stern sort of changed into a beautiful, nice smile. And I could see Swami was so happy, so joyous that I was following his teachings. And he sort of waved his hand, and he created a three diamond ring, which I actually wear even till date. And he was so happy. It was just that I was following his teachings and nothing else. Okay, so that was one moment which I cherish, and my big learning is, even though he's physically not there, but follow his teachings is the most valuable thing, or the most precious thing which he wanted, which he loved. Okay, there was another session which we had with uh, another incident which I had with Bhagawan, which I've narrated in various other platforms as well, but which is again very close to my heart. Was one day Swami told me and said, "See, all these boys, your classmate, this boy, and everyone is following my are keeping silent, but I've seen you talking so much, and you're not able to reduce your talk." And I said, "Swami, I've tried my best. I've reduced it as much as possible, and I used to talk a lot, have a lot of friends, and chat a lot." And Swami said, "No, I want you to be fully monam, be fully quiet." Okay, and I was like, how can I ever do this? This is so tough. I'm following all of the teachings, but this is difficult. Then I said, okay, Swami, you said you do. There's no question of try in your world. I will do it. And then I went back to the hospital, and I said, like, um, yeah, you have asked me to do, but what is uh, the what is the fruit I will get off for not talking, right? Even though Swami had told us, now you will, your memory will be better, but I was looking at a physical thing, a result. Said I will do it because this is totally out of my comfort zone. And I prayed to Swami, and I never told anyone about this. Right at that point in time, I looked at Swami's photographs, and I said, Swami, um, if I if I don't talk, okay, for these 2 weeks, okay, you have to give me something which is totally unexpected, different. Don't create vibhuti and give me and say, yeah, I'll say that yes, you recognize me. I try to make it so different, or take my letter, which I had done previously. So this time I said, Swami, I'm going to put the wildest of ideas, right? If I succeed in following keeping silence, you need to, maybe the wildest thing is, maybe give me a drive in your car, take me alongside you in your car. And that was wild, unthinkable. Why will he take me? Why will he take a student? Okay, why will he take he takes only very important people. Why will he take me? Right? No chances. That can never happen. So I put that in my mind, and it was like a deal with Swami. Okay, if I follow your teachings, then you will give me this, right? And I started keeping silent for 1 week. Then Christmas came. We went for Silver Door Darshan, and it was so beautiful. And at that time, when Swami is really talking to you every day, giving you interviews every day, you are just in a different plane. You're just walking in the clouds, and I was just enjoying it, enjoying his darshan. And I started talking after darshan because it was so good. Then I realized, oh my God, I failed in that sadhana, which I told to Swami in my heart. And I never wrote a letter to Swami. I never did anything. I never told anyone. And meanwhile, one of my classmates whom Swami was talking to got admitted to the hospital somewhere on the 28th or 29th of December 1993. And whenever we used to go for an interview in the evening with Swami, Swami used to inquire about him, how is he, and I used to go to the hospital, get his letter, and give it to Swami. And I used to say, Swami, he wants to have your darshan on the 20. He wants to come for darshan on the 1st of Jan because it's a new year. And Swami just blessing. Swami didn't do anything. So 1st of January, I've completed now almost 2 weeks of close to 2 weeks of my sadhana of not talking, but I forgot about it. But I sort of messed up a little bit here and there. I talked to some of the students because of the beautiful darshan on Christmas Day, the silver do darshan, and I was now enjoying, and I forgot about all that deal and all that stuff. That was only a starting trigger, and here I was. Um, we finished the morning program. This was 1st January 1994. Suddenly, Swami called me and said, Gupta, can you go to the hospital and uh, tell Pawan, who was my classmate, that I'm coming to see him. Ask him to get ready. And I ran, and he was admitted in the general hospital. So from the mandir, I ran and full sprint. I went to general hospital, and I told Swami has just told that he is coming to the general hospital. He's coming to see Pawan, who was my classmate. And I went into his room, and this guy, his parents were there, and he just got up. He didn't even brush his teeth. And I told him, "Hey, program just got over in Mandir, and Swami's coming to see you." And he said, "What? Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, man. Swami just sent me. Just be ready." And this boy was shocked, and he got up and brushed his teeth and did that, made himself ready. And then within 10-15 minutes, Swami's car was there, and Swami went. Swami went and went to him, spent 15 minutes with him, created vibhuti, rubbed it on his chest. Okay, spent some time with his parents who were there. And then as Swami was coming out, there was a general ward, and there was one young, small girl there. And Swami casually went there, blessed that girl. Uh, and because a doctor said, Swami, there's a girl there, if you want to just speak to her. Swami casually went, blessed her. And then as Swami was going, Swami told me, follow me. And I was like, okay. And then Swami went into the maternity ward. And they were all young, expectant mothers. They were all seated down. And I'm like the only sort of male going there. But Swami said, just follow me. I had to follow. So I went into the maternity ward, and Swami was blessing all this young women with who were pregnant, and it was such a beautiful sight, the joy in their faces. And as Swami passing by, blessing the doctors, everyone wants a piece of him. That was his charisma. That was why he tell us that he is that Chitachora, right? The stealer of hearts. And then we sort of went down the stair, we held him, then he came down. And as soon as he was about to get in, suddenly he said, hey, get in. And Mr. V.K. Narasimhan had come with him. So V.K. Narasimhan sir went into the front door. And then this classmate of mine, Swami was giving a lot of attention. He told me, hey, you get inside. Swami is asking you to go in. I said, what? Swami said, get in. And I actually, I went in. There was Swami, this classmate of mine, and myself in the back seat. And then we had V.K. Narasimhan in the front seat. And then Swami said, let's go. And it was a silver Benz, I think. And I was like dazed and sitting in Swami's car, okay, with him, behind him. And then Swami said, okay, where do you want to go? And I was like speechless, right? A scenario just a month before, I was struggling to get your attention. I was struggling to even try to get to know you, and that you know me or you recognize me, and here you are, you're giving me so much of attention. And then suddenly Swami says, okay, let's go to the super speciality. And he takes us to the super speciality. And we drive from the general hospital to the super speciality. And then the hospital is closed. He said, see, no one is there to receive me. The gates were closed. And then we sort of turned back, and he said, "Boys, I'll drop you in front of the hostel." And we said, "No, Swami, why don't you drop us in Mandir?" Right? Like, it's like we want every moment of our time with him. We were big to Swami, will please drop us in the Mandir. We can come back to the Swami said, "No, no, no, I'll drop you in the hostel because you have to do march past." And then Swami's car comes and nears the hostel, and it stops. And all the boys are there. All the 350 boys come out, and they're waiting. And the door opens, and then two boys come out of the car. Oh my God, what a heavenly scene, if I recollect it. And we were like shocked, right? And and sometimes your ego sort of boosts up. All the students are waiting, and you're coming out of a silver Benz. And Swami then takes the car and actually goes away. Then in the evening, we actually go to Mandir, and Swami said, and Swami, like a little child, okay, he says, what are the boys saying? What are the boys saying about your driving, you driving in Swami's car, or you being in Swami's car? And Swami was, what did he say? What did he say? And I'm like, like little children, like being your friend, okay. And we said, Swami, everyone is saying you're very lucky, and we are very grateful. And Swami just smiled, and he never told me that, you did this because you prayed to me, or this happened because of the deal. We had nothing. All that was just not told. It was just my heart, and my inner Swami knew exactly what we had and the deal, and it just manifested in front by Swami, uh, as to how this all happened. And it was all because I followed his teaching. I kept silence, which was very, very, very important for him, right? He believed, if you're around Swami, the silence is the most important thing he really appreciates. Another thing, if I and if I can if I actually recollect, was Swami's like emphasis on which I think is really helping me now, is focus on him, right? Was so important. Everything he wanted us is focusing on him. So one day we were again seated around Swami, and I used to read a lot of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa as well. And Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said the same thing. And Swami said, you all are zeros. You all are zeros, and I am the one. God is one. Only if you put zero beside God, then you get value. Otherwise, you have no value, right? And this happened even in Kodaikanal, as an instance. One day, Swami came into our car. Swami came into our bus, and his car was in the front. And he came and sat, and he said, "See, boys, all devotees are doing namaskar to the car, and no one is bothered about the bus. I'm losing all my namaskars because of my association with you, but my car is getting all namaskars and blessings because it is associated with me." And he went on to say, "You see, even the snake gets respect and value because it is around Lord Shiva. A mouse gets respect, it is around Lord Ganesha." So he was very, very, very particular about emphasis of me associating everything with him, right? And connecting with him all the time. I think in Brindavan, at one point, he actually told us, in Sri Brindavan, in the discourse, was, boys, you think only of me. Think only of me. I will think about your problems. You don't think about your problems. You think about me. I'll think about your problems. Okay. I remember once, I had asked Swami such mundane, sometimes stupid questions, right? Swami says, "Boy, ask question," and I said, "Swami, I always sleep off a while in my study hours, right? I used to play a lot, and then after that, I go and I just sleep. Um, Study hours start, and by 8:30, I'm asleep." And then Swami, and I was thinking Swami is going to create something and give me some tablet or give me something, some miracle is going to happen. Then Swami looked at me and said, "Huh? Why don't you do it for me? Think, स्वामी के लिए तुम ये सब कर रहे हो. You're doing it only for Swami, and then you will see, you will get energy, you will get perfection, you will get excellence, right?" And such a small mundane thing, it's so massive, significant message now. If I really look at, like, every activity, if we do for him. And in the Gita it says it becomes, it really becomes perfect. It really becomes the most important thing you can ever do, because an excellence comes in automatically because you are offering it to the Lord, right? And then then when you're focused on him, he starts focusing on you. And I remember once we were in the ground, and Tommy was sort of talking to me, and um, we were there was some athletics event going on in sports meet time, and suddenly Swami's car had come in the ground, and they were when Swami's car comes, everyone surrounds Swami's car, and I'm like, okay, do I want to go and run and see? Will he recognize me with so many boys? My mind was playing tricks. On a normal day, I used to go and have darshan. Swami, leave everything and run and see Swami's car. That day, I was thinking, should I go or not? And it was quite far. Swami was near the primary school gate towards the end, behind the primary school gate. He was about to enter the primary school gate, and he was going uh, from the Shanti Vedika inside the primary school behind. And I was thinking, should I go? But I said, okay. My heart said, go, man, go, don't miss it. And I ran, and I had bought a new pen, and that fell down. I thought, should I pick it up or not? My mind said, pick it up, someone will take it away. But my heart said, just go, man, just go for Swami. And I ran and went. Okay, my mind kept saying, why you're running, Swami? You can see in the evening why you want to unnecessarily go. So many people are there. But I left everything and I went. And finally, I stood there. And suddenly, Swami's car comes. And suddenly, and I'm sweating. And from Swami's car, Swami points at me and see, you're sweating so much. He starts doing like this. What is this? What is this? And I'm like, is he talking to me or is he? And I can't believe that he recognized me with so many boys. And because I'm sweating, and from the car, he started speaking to me, wipe your face and do that. And in the evening, when I went, saw me in the interview, Swami said, hi, you were sweating so much. And it was just that he starts focusing you, he starts recognizing you once you start focusing on him fully. On another note, I remember during the sports meet, there was a drama which we used to do the evening slot, and I was sort of dressed up like a king with all the makeup, and there was a small drama which was there, but it was somewhere in the ground, and Swami see from Shanti Vedika, and one part of the ground was sort of lit. One stage in the ground was lit, and I was one of the kings. I was the king there and doing the small performance. And then after that, we came to Mandir for photographs. And Swami was not giving photographs, and he was just going, and everyone was asking, Swami, please give photographs. It was in the evening. And Swami said, I'll give you in the morning. And I used to wear specs also then. But as a king, I was not wearing specs. I didn't have specs on. I just had the full makeup. And suddenly Swami was going, and suddenly he turned back and he said, Gupta, you. And then I said, yes, Swami. And immediately Swami came and took photograph, and the whole group caught that photograph. And then Swami just took that photograph, and then Swami went away. And all the boys started thanking me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just Swami's grace, man. It's not my doing. And next day, Swami in the morning, the Swami said, you were the king last night, right? I think I recognized you. It was just that the big message was we need to focus ourselves on Swami, and he's going to be like the sea who's going to push you back. But your hunger for Swami needs to keep going, keep trying, right? And that hunger, which was there, I'm just praying, Swami, I get that hunger, right? That hunger was that massive. There was a timeline, there was a deadline, and I wanted to go for engineering, which never happened, thank God. Right, I continued for many years in Swami's college, Swami's university. And I remember this one incident which was again very close to my heart before I end, was in Kodaikanal. One day, Swami had asked me to serve some chapatis to some VIPs who were actually seated. Everyone had finished, so they were just two. I think it was Professor Sampath who was there, and another VIP who had come. And Swami called, Gupta, can you serve him? Can you serve him chapatis? So um, I took the tongue, okay, and I picked up those chapatis. And as I tried to serve him, half the chapati fell outside his plate. And Swami was so furious. He was just standing next to me, just this close, and he said, "Bad boy, rowdy, no discipline. You can't even hold a chapati properly. You don't know how to serve people." And I got a thrashing of my life. Okay. And Swami said, "Take that chapati and throw it in the dustbin and give him another new chapati." And I was like chanting his name. And then I hope the new chapati doesn't fall again back. And I put it on his plate. And Swami was very angry. And that chapati went and fell into the bin. And we had to throw it in the bin. Few days later, during dinner time in Kodaikanal, Swami was Swami's chair and table is usually near the entrance, and we all pass by that, and we go and sit in our tables. And the cook or the student who was serving Swami that day, and Swami was near boys and trying to talk to them. This boy accidentally dropped the chapati which Swami he was serving Swami in the ground, and the chapati fell on the ground, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And then immediately, what this boy did, he tried to take the chapati and throw it away. And immediately, Swami turned, and Swami said, "No, I am going to have that chapati only." And that boy started pestering Swami, "Swami, please, please, please don't have this chapati. Please, it has fallen down." Swami said, "No, I am going to have this chapati only." And this boy was almost in tears, but he put that chapati back in Swami's plate. And then Swami again started going around and seeing everyone is comfortable. And as Swami had turned his um, um, turned towards us and behind, um, there's this boy who was people love devotees love Swami so much. He said Swami is not looking, and immediately, as soon as Swami turned his eyes away and he was talking, he replaced that old the chapati which had fallen down with this new chapati. And as soon as he replaced, I don't know, like it was like Swami had eyes in his back of his head, and immediately Swami turned and said, "No, replace it, replace it." And this boy said, "No, Swami, you should have this, right? You should have this." And this chapati would have fallen, and by the time he picked up, it would have taken 3 or 4 seconds. It would have failed the 2 second rule where you drop a chapati and the chapati becomes is still clean for 2 seconds, but after that the bacteria comes in. This chapati was there at least for 4 or 5 seconds in the ground by the time he picked it up. So it was it was not it was infested, if I would say. And this Swami said, "I'm going to have that chapati only." And then Swami came back, and Swami didn't turn anymore. He came back and he had that chapati only, that chapati which had fallen down. And these two incidents were sort of not related at all, right? This happened in one afternoon, that happened in the evening. After many years, I realized that it was the same. It was a chapati I served to this devotee, and a chapati that was served to God, right? The chapati which was served to God, which when it fell down, it had to be binned. A chapati which was served to the devotee, when it fell down, Swami binned it. Swami told throw it away, and we had to throw it. But the chapati which was served to God, which even though imperfect, fell down, Swami still accepted it and made it perfect, right? So the key message for me was taking that whole thing as offer everything to Swami. Even though if it is imperfect, it will be perfect. He will make it perfect. Whereas if you try to do perfect things for someone else, they will always find some fault, right? So that was what I've been trying to practice, and it gives me a lot of thrill when I sort of dedicate an activity to Swami and try to do for him, and it just automatically it becomes excellent, and it really becomes good. So with this, um, I'm thinking, I'm just conscious on time, but there's one song which actually comes to my mind, visualizing Swami, is which I sort of wrote. It's again a Kishore Kumar song, a Kishore Kumar classic. Okay, and and some of our boys used to sing it to Swami in Trai, but I think I want to actually reflect it here again. It was all he was for us. Because uh, my last discussion, my last darshan with Swami was in 2010 alumni meet, and I had sort of shaved my head and I looked so different. And Swami was so frail and weak from a physical point of view, and he was crying all the time. Suddenly, he looked at me and he came near me and he called me and he said, "How are you?" Right? I had left by then his university and his presence for almost 5 years, and he still recognized me. And this look which he gave me, I can never forget. So I just want to end with this small Kishore Kumar song, which says, जीवन से भरी तेरी आंखें मजबूर करे जीने के लिए सागर भी तरसते रहते हैं तेरा रूप का रस पीने के लिए पीने के लिए जीवन से भरी तेरी आंखें तस्वीर बनाए क्या कोई लिखे तुझ पे कविता रंगों छल्दों में समाएगी रंगों छल्दों में समाएगी किस तरह की इतनी सुंदरता एक धड़कन है तू दिल के लिए एक जान है तू जीने के लिए जीवन से भरी तेरी आंखें मधुबन की सुगंध है सांसों में बाहों में कमल के कोमलता किरणों के तेज है चेहरे पे किरणों के तेज है चेहरे पे हिरणों की है तुझ पे चल चलता आंचल है तेरी है तार बहुत कोई चाक जिगर सीने के लिए जीवन से भरी तेरी आंखें जय साई राम
Sai Ram brother, thank you so much for this wonderful talk. I'll quickly take some time to summarize my learnings from this talk, so that I am utilizing this session for the best of my learnings. So thank you so much. As you started calling Swami as Chittachura, the stealer of hearts, right? Thank you so much, Swami, for giving me this opportunity today to listen to Brother Amitabh. And I think the way you described the struggle on how the river is merging into the ocean, brother, it was wonderful. And I'm sure it's more than a coincidence, like how you started your journey with Swami, where Swami started off your journey by writing Om on a slate, if I heard it right. And Swami also blessed you from the car directly when you shouted Jai Sai Ram. That itself is a great start for your journey as a river into the ocean, I felt. And as you went on to narrate the incident of the 1 rupee photograph that your mother gave with so much love, it was very heart touching. And one interesting thing I noted was, all the while when you're sitting there for blessing from Swami, you're praying for not autographing your photograph because it is so small compared to others. And it drawing parallel to that, I think many times in our life as well, without knowing what is in store for us, we pray that Swami, please don't give me that. Please, escape me from this particular incident. But we don't know what is in store for that. And truly, you are truly blessed through that incident, brother. Thank you for sharing that incident. And the PC episode, that Sunday episode that you shared, that incident that you narrated, reminded me of the days where we craved for his attention. One look, one smile, that one sign of recognition from him, we all craved for, we all were hungry for. And we all know Swami never misses a chance to take such feelings to peak and then bless us with the best of the unexpected to us. I still remember how important the first line is for us. And I did understand your pain when you moved from first line to the ninth line. That was very heart touching. And the Clove episode that you mentioned, the Shabari incident that you mentioned, it was truly, it is truly emphasizing that Swami is none other than that Lord Rama for Shabari, that Lord Krishna for Kuchela. And today he has come for all of us, accepting the love that we offer in whichever form or whichever size we offer it to him. And thank you so much again, brother. I think some of the incidents or the life lessons that you shared, especially the ego, which is external I, versus self-confidence, which is internal I think I'll keep that lesson for a long time. It is definitely useful for me professionally as well. Thank you so much for sharing that lesson. And later, you also mentioned about that conditional agreement you had with Swami for keeping silent, and how you kept that condition that, Swami, if I am silent for this particular period of time, you have to take me in the car, which is like not even possible, but Swami made it possible just to ensure that if we follow his teachings, nothing can stop us from reaching him. And you ended the talk beautifully, reminding us of the famous Gita verse. I felt it was Ananya Chintayanto Mam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Think of him constantly. Keep him as the center of our lives, in spite of our imperfections, and rest is taken care. And you are definitely an example in that for that particular shloka. I'm sure nobody is going to disagree with that. And on behalf of our Samarpan team here, we are grateful to Swami for giving this opportunity to listen to your journey and help rekindle our love to offer him back his property. As you said, the love in our hearts, which he planted in our hearts when we are born, that is his property. And we all want to offer that back to him. And let us all remember constantly that without him, the hero of our lives, we are all zeros. Thank you, brother, again. And you really sang well in the end. Thank you so much. And
that was a beautiful summary, wonderful summary, brother. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
We will end this session now with Mangala Arti. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you again, brother. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Sathya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshak Bhakta Jana Samrakshak Pati Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hare Shashivadana Shrikara Sarva Pranapati Swami Sarva Pranapati Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Avatandhava Om Jai Jagadish Hare Mata Pita Guru Daivamu Mariyantayu Nive Swami Mariyantayu Nive Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nagera Shayana Om Jai Jagadish Hare Omkara Rupa Ojasvi Sai Mahadeva Satya Sai Mahadeva Mangala Arati Anduko Mangala Arati Anduko Mandala Giridhari Om नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण 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 ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण 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 ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।